Carrie Kennedy, the director of the Institute of Beauty and Wellness and Aveda Institute Madison. Just giving everybody a little bit of a second. We separated the two educations. So if you were on the Lupe Voss education, you have to click on to this link, which is the skincare one. So just a heads up, we will be starting that shortly. But as everyone starts to hop on to this video, I wanted to ask the video room, what is your go-to skincare regimen? What is that one product that you cannot live without right now? And I would love to hear. Put it in the chat section, because you have a chance to win. And unfortunately, I don't have a full size, but you will get a full size. The Tulasara wedding mask, right? Love this. And so I would recommend definitely if you putting down in the chat what you're interested, or what is the product that you love to use right now, especially when you're at home, you have some time to, hopefully do that skincare regimen. Today we have Erica Treats here today. She is an esthetician out of the Three Cutters group in Denver, and she is going to go through the Gua Sha technique for a facial. I'm really excited about that. I love learning I wouldn't say not new, but I love learning new ways to give a different service to our guests. So be aware of that, and definitely welcome Erica. Hey, Erica.
All right, hi guys. I'm not sure if we are having technical difficulties or anything, but I'm going to go ahead and get started. My name is Erica Treat, and I am an esthetician at Three Cutters Salon in Denver, Colorado. I'm also a part of the North American Artistic Team for Spa, and I am here today to teach you guys a little bit about Gua Sha. It is a facial rejuvenation therapy that is based on ancient Chinese traditions, and it's basically been handed down over the years from person to person, so techniques can always be different. I have been certified in Gua Sha facial fusion by the wonderful Cecily Braden. I was recently I took her class in January, so it hasn't been that long, so I'm by no means an expert, but I'm here today to talk to you about why I love it and why Gua Sha has become one of my biggest passions and one of my biggest services in the salon and in the spa. So I'm going to start by showing you a couple of the tools that I have. So this is our dark green jadeite stone, and I love this guy. It has so many different edges along each side. You can use it so many different ways. You can also use it hot or cold. So that's one of the exciting things is you can put it in the freezer or in the refrigerator, get it really, really cold, and use it during your services, on your guest, during your specific treatment as well. And then I wanted to show you the green jade roller as well. It is a spiked roller, and you can use this hot and cold as well. I really, really love the spiked edges along here. It's a little bit different than your normal jade roller, but it's going to be really able to get down into the skin. You're really going to be able to see huge benefits with this as well, especially if you're using a product. So I wanted to show you with this stone specifically. I love using an oil, specifically the radiance oil, in my treatment. It's become honestly one of the top services that I'm offering in the spa is my new Gua Sha facial fusion treatment. And when I use this on guests, I've talked to them about using it in a treatment. So I try to have guests come in about once a week for 4 weeks. And if they're not able to do that, then to come in at least once a month for the treatment. Sometimes I do alternate it with the dual exfoliation. But it's really, really one of my favorite stones. Basically, the history of Gua Sha is that it came from traditional Chinese medicine. So combining that along with manual lymphatic drainage and connective tissue massage is where you're really going to see the benefits of Gua Sha massage. So if you think about getting a massage from a massage therapist, they are really going all over the body. Sometimes they do work on the face, usually the scalp, but Gua Sha is there to really work on the face and really get into the muscles of the face. So once you have been certified and able to start offering that treatment is when you can really start to offer guests benefits that they'll see from a service that's not totally reliable on product, which I think is really cool. So many people want to know what product can they put into their skin that's going to give them, results overnight or give them something that's going to completely erase their wrinkles or lift their skin. And they're looking for that thing topically, which Gua Sha, when you combine with those topical products, really gives you the results that you are looking for when you go to, say, a dermatologist's office, a doctor's office. When people really want to get crazy and go in deep on their skin, you can actually use Gua Sha along with product to give them those same results. I've had so many guests that have been completely shocked by the results that they've gotten from their facial with me. And it's been really cool to see them not only immediately after the service see the before and after difference, but continue to see it for up to 72 hours to change in their skin. And then from there, over weeks, they still notice a difference in their skin. And when they go home and they have a loved one or a friend comment on their skin is when they're like, okay, this is really doing something. I saw it, but someone else is seeing it, so now I want to do it more. And that's been really, really cool conversations to have with my guests. I definitely want to start by going into the different techniques that you can use with the stone. So I'm going to pick up this guy again. And with this, you can use all different edges. I'll show you on my arm because I have a full face of makeup. But you can use light pressure, you can use medium pressure, and you can use deep pressure as well. And depending on the pressure is going to depend on the outcome that you're going to get. So a lot of times with light pressure, you want to use just the weight of the stone. That's all that you want to use as you glide it across the skin. You don't want to apply anything really more than that as you start out because that is where you first want to be moving the lymph around. So once you're clearing the lymph and moving the lymph, you're allowed to go deeper, more with pressure, and go even down into the muscle. But what you're wanting to do is really get in there and break up the fascia once you have moved around the lymph and got the lymph. So you, depending on which side that you're using, I like to use different pressure. The edges right here, I'm not sure if you can see them, but the edges here, I like to call my wrinkle eraser. And these are really, really great for getting in and smoothing out those deep, fine lines and the deep lines that people have, especially here between the eyebrows and across the forehead, even the folds here around the mouth. You can really get in and help smooth out all of those deep lines and wrinkles. I was really, really shocked. I had a guest a couple weeks ago that has really, really deep lines, and I'm a huge believer in Gua Sha. I perform the service all the time. I do it to myself. But at the end of her service, I was so blown away at the before and after of her results from this one-time treatment. She could not believe it. She booked the next 4 facials with me to make sure that she should get in. And I almost every time I perform this service am just so blown away at how not only I respond, but how my guest responds to the difference in their skin. But back to pressure. So you're going to start with the light pressure first, and you're going to go through. You're going to start, of course, on the back of the neck, work around to the décolleté, and then neck, and then you'll move up and out like you would with your normal gym stone roller. So everything is always up and out, but you're going to use super light pressure at the beginning because you want to get all of the lymph moving, and you want to get it to be able to drain. So once you get all of that moved, then you can go in deeper and then really focus on lifting the skin, especially other guests that have saggier skin around their jaw and around their neck. That's usually a huge problem area for guests. And these tools and these techniques really, really help get in there and lift and sculpt everything. Some people like to call this facial the instant facelift facial, which I laugh at because it really does give you those results. But it's a little less intense on the skin, I would say. This tool as well is really, really great for getting in onto the neck, up under the jaw as well. And these tools you can also sell to your guests retail, which I think is really great for them to do at home. A lot of times your guest is not going to go home and do the same techniques that you are, but it gives them an opportunity to still do something at home along with their products. So next I want to talk about the specific movements that you can do with your stones. So you can, of course, do your smooth glide. You can get light pressure, deep pressure. This is one of my favorite ones, especially for lifting and sculpting the skin. You can also do little zigzags, which I love to do over fine lines and wrinkles. Really get in there and break up what is there underneath, because the wrinkle really goes down a lot deeper than people think it does. A lot of times people think it's just super surface, but it's not. You can really get your stone down into that wrinkle and really break it up. You can also do a pumping motion, which I really, really love, especially under the eyes. A lot of people will have almost like a hard buildup right here, just below the hollow of their eye. And it really makes dark circles stand out even more because they have that hard buildup underneath the skin. And you can really get in there with the stone and you can pump it out as you're also smoothing it. And it's going to help break up everything there and smooth everything out. It's going to help so much with puffiness, so much with dark circles, and it's really going to help smooth everything out. That's one of the biggest things I've noticed as well with guests that have that as their main trouble area, is really just getting in there and working on that, pumping it, especially once the stone gets warm. You can really get under there, work into the skin, and you can start to see it move and drain out of the skin. That's where you want to use this super, super light pressure and really make sure that you're draining and getting everything out, not leaving anything, and following that as well so that you're able to clear it, and so not that you've just moved it to a different area of the face. Another one of my favorite techniques that you can do with this as well is the pulling motion. So you can also do a pump and a pull at the same time instead of just doing pumping and then gliding. So you can do that as well. Also doing zigzags at the crow's feet, which is huge for guests. Getting in there and clearing all of that out, helping to lift the skin right there. You're going to see a huge difference. And once you've really gotten comfortable with your technique, you can then go in and do, of course, before and after pictures. But what I love to do with my guests is halfway throughout the service, because you work on one side of the face first, you then move on to the other side. And I love to ask my guests before the service so I don't disrupt their quiet time is to ask them if halfway through I can take a picture of one side that's done and one side that's not. And 9 times out of 10, the guests will say absolutely. Just don't show it to anyone. So I always show it to them in the end. But once you have worked on Okay, sorry, technical difficulties again. So I apologize for that, guys. Um, but I will have my guests halfway through the service, we'll do a picture to show them what one side of the face looks like. And it always is so crazy to me to see how much of the lymph has been drained, how much circulation we've brought into their skin. So usually that one side will be really red, super pink, not sensitive at all, of course. But you just see so much more life in the skin. And when you see it all kind of sculpted, you usually see a huge definition in the cheekbone, along the jaw. The skin right under the jaw is always really nice and taut. And I love showing this picture to my guests. And if they allow you, also sharing on social media because people are going to see that side by side difference and they're going to want to know what you're doing, what you're offering, because everyone, no matter what age, is wanting to come in and do this service. I have guests that are in their 20s and I have guests that go all the way up into their 80s to get this service. And every single person loves it because you're able to really see that difference and then continue with the results at home. I would say another thing that I love about this tool as well is that it has a little indentation. I'm not sure if you can see it right here along the edge where it almost acts as a suction. So whenever you have drained everything and you really get to start smoothing and lifting up the skin, a lot of people like to call it facial contour, which I feel like anytime you're telling someone that you can contour their skin, they're 100% down. But once you're able to really scoop in, it really just suctions nicely onto the skin and glide it away. You see such a huge, huge difference and bringing in more of the blood flow. It's bringing in more collagen. You're getting more cell turnover. And it's so, so great for that instant result that people see, especially right when they get up after the service. And you know, once you leave the room that they're looking at their skin, they want to know, what you've done because they've experienced it. They know that it feels amazing, but they want to immediately see what their results are. And I will say 10 out of 10 come out of the treatment room and they are blown away at what their skin looks like. And it's just a really great feeling to know that you are giving them a treatment where they see that immediate change in their skin and you're not causing damage. Because that's the biggest thing right now is everyone's going in to get facial treatments where it's causing damage to the skin. And so whenever we're able to go in and do something that's not super harmful is always where I like to remind my guests that you can get those same results, but you don't have to go in and do any type of damage to the skin. You don't have to stay inside. You're not going to peel and look crazy. You're going to have those amazing glowing results for weeks to come just by doing the service with me. Another option that you can do as well with using the oil. I love the oleation oil so, so much for this service. I also like to add in, depending of course on what their skin concerns are, but a few drops of the vitamin C complex to really mix it together and use that on the skin so it's able to penetrate and do its job while I'm also doing the treatment. The cool thing about this treatment too is that you don't have a lot of cost for the salon or spa that you're working for, since you're just using the oil. Also the vitamin C oil, you're not using a ton of products like you would with your other facials. It's a really great way to offer a service where you're not, costing an arm and a leg for the salon. Um, but I love just using the radiance oil. I sometimes will use the composition oil, especially the light, if I have someone that is extremely prone to acne. But for the most part, I do love to use the radiance oil. And then at the end of service, I will just kind of blot off any excess oil. At that point, there's usually not a lot left on the skin. So from there, I will use one of our concentrates. I'll do, of course, our eye treatment, and then I will finish with a moisturizer. Usually the Tulasara Wedding Mask is my favorite moisturizer to finish with after this service. They already have a lot of oil on their skin, but at that point, it's so much of it has absorbed into the skin and so much of it has come off with the stone as well. So I really like to make sure that I'm not putting too much on their skin. So really making sure that you're putting on what's best for your guest is what I would recommend. Also, at the beginning of the service, talk to your guest like you would at a normal consultation. Really figure out what their issue is, because it might not be so much of, say, fine lines and wrinkles if it's a younger guest. It might be a guest that's just wanting to maintain what they're doing. So you really just want to make sure that you have an understanding of what that guest is looking for before you begin the service. Really making sure that I like to talk to the guest before and make sure that they know I'm going to be using light pressure, medium, and deep pressure. Do you have any sensitive areas that I need to be aware of? Of course, sensitivities to oil or product or anything like that if it's not already a guest of yours. But really just making sure that you have an understanding of what the guest is expecting at the end of the service, because you don't want to end the service and have them say, well, you didn't focus here, and that's something that I really wanted you to do. So just really making sure that you have that understanding. Also, you can, of course, do these services and do the techniques with your gemstone roller. I received a gemstone roller in my kit at the Aveda Institute in Denver, and you can also do that as well with the gemstone roller, but I would 100% recommend doing an actual certification class like I did. I'm specifically certified in the Gua Sha facial fusion and facial herbal poultice, and it was a 2-day course that we learned so much. It was, I don't want to say overwhelming, it was just a lot of information that I didn't really know anything about. I went into it thinking that I knew about lymphatic drainage, I knew about connective tissue massage, I knew about all these things, but when you really put them together in a way that an instructor is able to teach you specific things about each one, really just blew my mind. So I would really just impress on you guys to take an actual certification. So that way, if a guest asks you, you can say that you are certified in a specific technique, and you are really able to fall back on your materials as well that they gave you at the class. I, like I said, was certified in January, so I am by no means a pro or an expert at Gua Sha. I still look over my material all the time, because sometimes when you reread over something, it will click in a different way, or you might have forgotten something. So always referring back to your materials, just like you do in school, because you're never finished with education, obviously. But it's just really my passion. I know, well, I've heard that so far this year, lymphatic drainage is kind of the buzzword for skin and for facialists this year. So jumping on this trend was 100% something that I wanted to do. Not only so that if a guest asked me about it, I was prepared to talk to them about it, but to also then offer the service that they're wanting. And a lot of people have been really surprised that we know what it is, that we're offering it as a service because it's new when it's not really new. We know that it's based on traditional Chinese medicine. So it's been around for a long time. It's been handed through all kinds of different hands. And that's why taking the certification, any certification is going to be different. They're not all going to be the same. But really taking that certification and really getting your education and grounding in it, is what I 100% recommend. But yeah, I wanted to see if we had any questions as well. Let's see. Oh, we do have a lot of questions. Okay. So Ambrosia said, other than the face, what is another good part of the body to use the stone on? So when you are first learning, you will actually learn to clear the back of the neck, the décolleté, and the neck first. So those are the areas that I really try to focus on in the beginning of the service. So many people don't pay attention to the back of their neck. So clearing and draining everything back there as well can a lot of times help with headaches. It can help with any type of pain that they're feeling, whether it be joint pain, it can be muscular pain, anything like that. You are not only working on like the lymphatic system, but you're also working on the muscular system as well. So you're able to get in there and really do any type of massage, I would say, from the décolleté up. Other than that, I don't know. There, you could probably do some type of Gua Sha on the back, but I would definitely have to look more into that. Taylor said, are there long-term benefits from this service? 100%. You see results immediately, and from that first service, you see results over the next 72 hours that are continuing to show up. And then from there, you'll see results, I would say anywhere from up to 3 to 4 weeks is what I have seen with my guests and with my own usage at home. I'm going to take a drink of water. I'm getting over a cold, so excuse me, guys. Let's see. We have, can you use it cool like you can with the jade roller? Yes. So you can put it in the freezer. You can put it even in just like a jar of cold water, and that will actually make it super, super cold. Throughout the service, though, I've noticed, especially with this stone, that it gets very, very hot. With all of the work that I'm using with this stone, it gets very, very hot, and at the end, it almost is transferring the heat to them. So I notice at the end of service, not only because we've worked on their skin, but they are very, very flush. Their skin has a hot temperature to it, as do my hands. So you can also use it cold as well if you wanted to alternate and have maybe 2 stones and start with one cold, and then once that one gets hot, you could use your other one and do that one as well. Let's see. Can you do this service on acne? Yes, you can. This service is really, really great for acne. A lot of times, as we know, acne doesn't just start on the surface and end on the surface. It all is internal. So helping to clear out all of the lymphatic system, all of that lymph that's in there, all of the fluid, all of the buildup that's under there. Whenever you find out where that specific area is, like if you have someone that comes in that has acne on their cheekbones, really working along the jaw and clearing the jaw, everything below it is what's going to help everything to drain out from there, which is something that I felt like I knew, but when I heard it a second time, I was like, that makes so much sense. So yes, you can use it on someone with acne. If it is someone that has, I would say, pustular acne or anything that's very severe, any form of cystic acne, I would make sure that they don't have any reaction to the oil or product that you're using, but they'll be totally fine with the stone and the rest of the service. Are there any contraindications to Gua Sha? No, there are not, which is really, really cool that you can offer this to everyone. I have a lot of people that come in that, will say I have sensitive skin and all the other excuses that people come up with, but no, there's not any contraindications. If the jade was warm, what would be the benefits versus cool? So once you are using the cool stone, or if you've switched and you've gotten another cool stone, it's going to help to soothe the area. I especially like to use a cool stone underneath the eyes whenever I'm performing not an eye treatment, but whenever I'm working right underneath the eyes. I love for the stone to be cold because it's going to immediately give them relief, especially with puffiness and dark circles. You're going to really help get in there and just kind of soothe everything out. What step in the facial should the stones be used for the best results? So the Gua Sha facial, specifically the one that I offer, the Gua Sha facial fusion, the steps that I follow are: we cleanse the skin, um, we tone the skin, and then I will put the oil on, and then I start the service. The whole service is honestly the oil. And then at the very end, doing the finishing touches. Like I said, I'll always do the eye treatment as well, even though I've already worked around the eye. I love to go in with their eye cream because then you can bring in a point of retail as well. Um, but it's really just cleanse, tone, gua sha, so oil. How often do you recommend this treatment to maintain results? So I recommend, it really depends on the guest and what their end result is. But I recommend, most of my guests come in about every 4 weeks for a facial. So I recommend them coming in every 4 weeks to get this service. I do have guests that still love the dual exfoliation and they don't want to give that up. So I will usually do 3 weeks with them. I'll do a gua sha facial, and then in 3 weeks I will do the dual exfoliation, and we alternate. And that's what a lot of my guests who were dual exfoliation fanatics have decided to do, is they'll alternate, and they'll usually do about every 3 weeks, sometimes 4. But if you have that guest that really has something that they want to see a major result with, I would say have them come in once a week for 4 weeks or once a week for 6 weeks. And you will have insane before and after pictures with them. I'm telling you, they will be blown away. It's really, really great, especially that type of service if you can find that guest for like a mother of the bride that has a wedding coming up or something like that. Do you use alcohol to sanitize your tools? So I do. I will, both tools, I of course wash with soap and water. Usually they are covered in oil. This one I also like to use with the intense hydrating mask, so you have to really get in there and clean it. Excuse me. But I clean everything with hot soap, hot water, and soap. And then, yes, I do sanitize my tools with alcohol. And then I make sure to dry them off and set them aside. This stone as well also comes with a case, so it's really nice because it's very fragile. Did you use different tools to get different results? So for the most part in my Gua Sha facial fusion, I am using this stone and this stone only. This stone is truly, you can use it so many different ways. You can use it this way, you can use it this way, you can use this side, you can use the suction edge, you can use, I call this the mountain side, but you can use this so many different ways, and also depending on the angle of the stone. I don't really feel the need to get 100 different stones. There are so many different stones out there that you can use that I see on the market, but this stone is the stone that I would say I use 98% of the time. And then this as well. They do also offer called the mushroom stone. You can get any white quartz or usually rose quartz. And those I do like to use, but those are specifically used mainly on the jaw. And that really helps relieve muscle tension. You can also warm those up in your towel warmer as well and make sure they're not super, super hot, but you can really get in there and use those as well. But if I were to tell someone that was in the industry that wanted to start doing this, I would say 100% just to get this stone, because there's so many options that you can do with this stone, and so many different types of treatments with just this alone. Let's see, how much was the course? So the course that I took was $750. It was a 3-day class, and we had this stone was included as well. We got this stone along with it. We did have the option to buy other tools from her at the end. We also got a book that had, it was more of a workbook that has all kinds of history for Gua Sha. It talks about different techniques you can use and things like that. But I would say the real part of the class is hands-on, and not only watching your instructor, taking videos of your instructor. I had so much video of my instructor when I went to this class, where we learned from her, we saw her, and then we immediately jumped into hands-on. So that kind of was different. It's not the best way that I learn, but it was very helpful to go ahead and get in there and get your hands on the stone, get your hand on a guest, and start performing the same techniques that you saw her doing. And she was able to walk around and just really change a little bit of, the way that your wrist or hand was tilted, or just the tilt of the stone. So it's really little things that they'll come in and show you. Just, tilt it a little bit more this way, a little bit less pressure at the beginning, little things like that. But I loved the class so much. I can't ever stop talking about it. I've told everyone in my salon to go take it, because it has been such a huge benefit for me and for my services. Can massage students take the course? Absolutely. So the instructor, Cecily, she is an esthetician and a massage therapist, the one that I was certified through. And she has such a huge wealth of knowledge for doing this for so many years that when she was able to then go into teaching this class, she had such a good foundation. So I think being a massage therapist going into this class as well will be huge. I think it would really expand your guests and your service as well, because you see such a huge difference and you have such a different understanding of the body, the lymphatic system, and the muscular system as well. What is the stone called? So this stone is the dark green nephrite jade Gua Sha stone. And this one is the jade chi spiked roller. You can also use 2 of these at the same time. I prefer one because my left hand goes crazy sometimes. Where in Denver do I work? I work at 3 Cutters Salon and Spots and Aveda Salon. I'm at our Park location, but we also have locations in Capitol Hill and in Sunnyside. And let's see. Perfect. I don't think we have any more questions. I don't see any here and on here. But yeah, that's kind of my spiel. I hope I wasn't too all over the place for you guys. It just really is a huge passion of mine, and I've been able to see my guests even become more passionate about their skin through this service. And so many of my coworkers as well have come in to experience the service from me and have been telling their guests about it. So then I have people that might not have ever come in to see me before are now coming in because I've been offering this service to our hairstylists as well. So it's a great way to help build your business. Taking before and after pictures is going to be a great way also to get new guests in, and have even, a guest that you haven't seen in a while to say, this new service that you're doing, I want to come in. It's just a great way overall to build your business. Oil do I use for acne? So depending on how sensitive their skin is and how, I would say just overall how sensitive their skin is and how reactive their skin is, I would probably use the light composition oil mixed with the vitamin C. For other guests, I usually will do just the oleation oil. I rarely will do the just regular composition oil, but it's usually the oleation or the light composition oil. How much is the facial? So the Gua Sha facial fusion that I offer in Denver, we offer it at an hour for $150 and $200 for the 90-minute. Every area is going to be different. We took the class that I got certified in New York, and we had estheticians there that live in Manhattan, that work at spas in Manhattan, and it blew my mind that they were offering these services for an hour for $500. So really just finding what market is right for you guys. I like to compare it to the dual. So that's where I came up with our pricing for the salon, was it's giving you similar results. So I was like, you're basically just being paid for your time because you're not using a lot of product. But yes, we do $150 for the 60-minute and $200 for the 90-minute. Let's see. We have another one coming in. Let's see. I also, if I didn't share my Instagram with you guys, my Instagram is just my first and last name, Erica with a C, and Treat is my last name, Treat. Um, Feel free to reach out if you think of another question later, or you want more information on the class that I took or anything like that. Always feel free to reach out to me. I am pretty good at getting back to you, I would say immediately right now, since none of us are working or at school. But yeah, just reach out to me also if you have questions there. Let's see. I've read that you shouldn't go over active breakouts. I'm sort of acne prone and heard that it can make a breakout get worse, like pressing on it pushes that bacteria back down into the skin. So I have never had this happen with a guest. I have, I would say, quite a few guests that have acne, especially active acne, but I've never had that come up as an issue. Of course, after a facial, it's normal for people to break out afterwards because you're kind of purging the skin. But I've never had this issue with someone. If anything, I would just say when you're going over that specific area to make sure to use the lightest pressure possible, which is just going to be the pressure of the stone or the weight of the stone. So just making sure that you are able to just lightly go over the skin and not really pressing and digging down into the skin. Let's see. If there are toxins lodged in the back, the Sha that comes up can be red, external heat, purple toxins, brown, excess of bodily fluids. So yes, so a lot of people I've had asking this question is that Gua Sha, or also some people pronounce it Gua Sha. So you can sometimes after or during the service notice a it almost just looks like a hyperpigmentation deposit, or if someone has a lot of hyperpigmentation on their skin, whenever you're working on the skin, you will see it increase in color or pigmentation and get really, really bright. A lot of times it will end up looking like a makeup mark almost, and that is completely normal. You are bringing so much activity to the skin. You're really being in there, bringing in new blood flow and all of that. It's going to intensify that. But over, I would say, 1 to 2 days, it will dissipate. It's going to stay there forever. A lot of us, if they do already have some type of intense hyperpigmentation on their skin, you can pre-warn them about this, and they know to expect it. I have one guest that did experience this, and I just her seeing pictures daily, and afterwards it was like you couldn't even see the hyperpigmentation that was there in the first place. So just really making sure that you are having those conversations with your guests and checking in with them after will really help to make sure that they're not going through that way and they think, oh my God, it got worse. Because definitely not the case. We know usually things get worse before they get better. Let's see. If I wanted to do this at home, which oil would you recommend? I have acne prone skin. So if you can order through, I would definitely recommend getting the light composition oil. If not, I would say trying the radiance oil. If you don't have any type of reaction to the oleation oil, that would be your best bet. So just kind of going from there will help you. And then from there, if you're still having any type of reaction to it, then I would probably recommend doing the composition oil and just using not as much. What is the difference between jade and quartz? So this is a jade stone. A quartz stone is going to be a lot lighter in color. A lot of times it is almost clear. I wish I had an example for you. This one has a little bit more of the white stone in it, but once you see the quartz stone, it's almost see-through in some areas. And the jade is going to be super, super dark with a lot more, I guess, black through it. And that's how you can really tell. A lot of times people refer to their jade rollers as a jade roller when it's actually a quartz roller. but it might be a jade stone that still has a lot of the white pigment through it. And I'm not seeing any more questions. But like I said, you guys, you can always reach out to me on Instagram with your questions. If you guys want more about the specific stones, if you guys want almost like a tutorial, I am working on filming a tutorial right now that I can put on there so you can actually see my demonstration of it on the skin. But yeah, always feel free to reach out to me. I don't see any more questions coming through. But I hope you guys learned something today. I hope you guys are inspired to not only learn more for yourself, but to also educate your guests. Always continuing the education and getting certified, but just really expanding your knowledge with skincare and offering treatments to your guests. Okay, so now I'm going to pick a winner. Let's see. I'm going to do a random thing. Let's see. I am going to pick Taylor Westerhausen as the winner for today. I loved your question, and you guys were all so great. Thank you so much for your questions. I hope you were able to learn a lot from me, and I hope you guys are having a good day, staying inspired, still learning while we are in this crazy time, not at school or anything like that. So I hope you guys have a really great day, and I will talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks, Erica. Okay, I wanted to just round up and finish with our two winners. So for the video series with Lupe Voss, the winner of that series to get a Aveda chakra is, let me look at her name. Shasha, oh my gosh. Shasha, I'm sorry I'm saying your name wrong. I do not know why. Sasha Maness from Madison. So thank you. Great input. Loved your chat. So you will be getting a chakra number 2. And then for the wedding mask will go to Ellie Zinger. I'm so sorry, Ellie Zinger. Okay. So excited for you guys. Continue to come. Tomorrow we have more guest educators, and I hope you get a lot out of this series. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we will see you on the internet. All right, bye.